Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Okay, how was everyone? So I've got this story here. It comes up from Melbourne, Victoria. It's the southern section of Australia. If you're not from Australia, okay. So I was a bit surprised when I saw the headline. A bit surprised that the police have used this tactic in amongst a crowd like this. Protesters, one thing you got to remember, generally speaking, if people are just protesting, having a march, they're not criminals unless there's actual criminal behavior. I still find it hard to see how this kind of action can be justified. Now, mind you, this morning I was reading an article how police had finally caught up with a group of gang members who, within a stolen vehicle, they'd attacked a couple within their home. They'd stolen a car. They'd crashed their car. They'd stolen another car. Eventually, the police have caught up with them. Within the car, they've got swords, machetes. They've got all these weapons. They're a violent group. Mate, if you want to use these kind of tactics on the gangs that are down in Victoria, I'm sure everyone would be like, yep, go ahead, do it. Go hard. But using it on protesters, let's just check out. Okay, so it says police detonated a stinger grenade at a Melbourne protest. Now, two activists may sue over their injuries. So grenades, so it says stinger grenades are grenades filled with rubber pellets and other so-called less lethal munitions. They've been increasingly deployed despite being linked to serious injuries and even sometimes death. So the article goes on to talk about this person Scott's his interaction with police and how he's been injured, allegedly injured by police using this. But I just want to read this part here. The footage, you got the footage that shows a member of the public order response team, Port, skirting around a row of officers in a standoff with protesters. The Port member then moves forward, crouches, and lobs a grenade towards the protesters via an underarm throw. It strikes an umbrella, which is then being used by one protester to avoid being sprayed with capsicum foam and lands on the road. If you haven't had the experience, the cap or OC foam, I think, is actually more. It hurts a lot more than just OC spray. That was my experience with it anyway when I was a police officer. So for about a second, it seems to either go unnoticed or ignored. Then it explodes. The stinger grenade is designed as a crowd control device. It makes a loud noise, creates a blinding flash, and fires rubber projectiles. According to its manufacturer, some versions of the grenade can also discharge chemical agents or OC spray, but it's unclear which model is used by Victoria Police. If you're watching this on video, this was a picture, I believe, of someone in the US actually using it. So at hospital later, this person, Scott, says he realised that he had burns near their knee. Can I just say to you, this article keeps referring to Scott as they and them. Seriously, use proper grammar. Plural. This is plural, singular. This is one person sitting there explaining his situation. It's not a group. Just use he, him, crying out loud. Anyway, Scott realised he had burns over his knee and groin, even though he was wearing pants. What felt like hot metal had torn holes straight in through his pants. He also had burn on his right wrist. And it just goes over what else. Look at the burn mark here if you're watching this on video. It's on his leg. I want to get down to what the police were saying. So this officer Cheeseman, who was talking about the tactics that Victorian police used, confirmed that police had used 2 stinger grenades and 4 flashbang devices, along with rubber bullets and WKS pepperball guns. Pellets of pepper spray fired from a semi-automatic launcher. It's a bad day when you're using these things. It's a bad day for Victoria Police. It's a bad day for Melbourne. It's a bad day for our community. We don't want to be in that position, Cheeseman said. But at the same time, I don't think our members should be target practice for people who want to hurt us. Scout said they had not been violent towards police. Sorry. It says Scout. Probably meant Scott. I would say. So he's saying that the protesters haven't been violent towards police and had been standing with the group. I always find that when these protesters, when they describe their actions, it's always, oh, everyone was just peaceful. We were all just, you know, walking around singing Kumbaya. When in actual fact, they were being real pricks and being aggressive and being towards police and towards the public in general, because they've got their message that they want to get across. Now, I'm not saying this happened, but it's always somewhere in between. I find, police are like, mate, what are we doing? Because everyone's kind of in fear of what's going on. But then the protesters always tries to paint this picture. We didn't do anything wrong. We're just love and peace. That's all we're about. It's always a mixture of the two. So it goes on to say there's one or two people considering legal action against police for injuries caused by the 19 of October explosion near the intersection of Spring and Little Burke Street. Listen, my thoughts on using these kinds of devices on the general public, on protesters, I think things need to be really, really out of control before you start using these types of weapons. And like I said, we've got a plethora of instances where police are interacting with these extremely violent gang members, and they're not using these devices. I'm not reading about the police using these devices on gang members with swords and machetes and other weapons, guns and stuff, but yet they'll use it on protesters. It seems a little unbalanced. In my opinion, the Victorian police force, I think they've gone down the wrong path the last couple of years. We saw during COVID, they took a really aggressive stance, and it was really about just supporting the government mandates, and it was about supporting. Didn't really seem about enforcing the law. It really seemed more like, no, well, this is the government political agenda, and we're all about supporting the political agenda. And that's the problem I think that Victoria Police have when they take out such aggressive actions against protesters. Very aggressive against protesters, very aggressive when they're pushing a government mandate, a government ideology, a political ideology. But when it comes to enforcing the law and arresting violent gang members, then they seem to behave with, kid gloves when they're arresting these people. That's just my own observations, my own opinion. I think Victoria Police, I don't think they're on a good track. I honestly think it's dangerous using these kinds of weapons in a protest as a crowd control like this. I'm all for it if it's violent gang members, violent criminals. Protesters, I think you should be a bit more guarded in your approach to trying to control the crowd. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Just let me know what you think. I think Victoria Police have been on an incorrect path for quite a few years, and I think it's the government influence there in Victoria. It's all about just obey. They're all about trying to keep people down, keep people under the thumb. The government narrative is the only narrative that is accepted in Victoria, and everyone needs to obey, which is why so many Victorians have moved up to Queensland. Anyway, this is all my opinion. Please let me know what you think. I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna stop me now. No more deals to be done. And nothing's gonna just focus on the goal. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Nothing's gonna hold me down. Got my eye on the prize, gonna sail the clouds in tears.